Hello everyone out there and welcome to our first Impact Talk here at Impact Hub. Today with Kjell Jacobsson. My name is Rodrigo Munoz and I will be your host today. Here at Impact Hub we have a live audience and we might be taking questions from them as well as from you. But in your case you have to write in the comment just down below. So don't be shy and ask away. Today we're talking with Kjell Jacobsson, a coach and organizational developer at Primecoach. And the topic for the day is conflict resolution. And Kjell, I guess my first question to you is, why do we say conflict resolution and not this conflict management? Is it because conflict management is such a stuffy buzzword, or what is it about?
Well, to answer that question, I would start to say that if you say conflict management, it's more like you really go into the conflict and work with it in a different way than when you say the words conflict resolution. Because to me, that means anyway that you in some way solve it, resolve it, and go further on. But first, I would like to say thank you for inviting me to this. Both you, Rodrigo, and Katie as well. It's fantastic to be here, and it's fantastic to see so many of you here as well. So thank you so much for coming. Thank you. Yeah.
It's great to have you.
Yeah, thank you.
So you work with conflict resolution as one of your tools when you're helping organizations out. What does it, if we just give it a background for the people watching and the people in the room, what does it actually really entail for you? Maybe on a practical level, not perhaps in all the details, but give us a background.
Yeah, the background is huge, I think, because it contains the whole world, I think. To me, my story, I can tell a little more about that, of course. But first, I would like to say that we are, when it comes to conflict, we are all more or less like so-called, I don't know if it's the right word, but I dropped the word anyway. We are filled up with old stories about the stronger winning, the stronger man or woman sometimes is the winner. And it has such a great impact on us all the time, even if you don't talk about it so much, because it's in the history, way back in time. We have heard stories about that. You have heard poems about kings who won the battles and they were the greatest and we are under his or sometimes her flag or whatever. So it's an old story and we are sort of nurtured by that since we were born, and the total culture is it as well. And when I started to prepare for this little talk today, not little, maybe bigger, but then I thought about it in this context. I didn't do that before. I just worked with it in an everyday perspective, trying to help people to resolve conflicts. But now I get the greater perspective, and I think it's important. Because if we understand that we all of us, in some way, it has an impact on us all, that we have this story, carrying it along all the time. So it's very easy for us to go into conflict if we meet something that is not good. We are thinking about the winning style, we are thinking about how to go in conflict and so on. So it's very much staged for that subject or that way of talking. If that makes any sense for you.
I understand that you're pointing out to our history as humanity.
Yeah.
That we have a tradition of conquering.
Yeah.
Out of conflict and conquering.
Yeah.
And that somehow stays or has stayed with us in everyday mindset.
Yeah, I think it is not on the awareness level, but it's subconscious, of course. I think it has a great impact on that level, really. I think so. I never thought of it like that before, but now I do it. And then I think about the Second World War, how it ended, and that the West were winning over Germany. Not to go in, it doesn't matter if we don't have to go into countries like that, but I still think it has a great impact on us, how we think upon conflicts and we think upon how to go together with other people. Someone must be the winner and someone else must be within that concept. Maybe I'm not taking too hard now, but something like that, and that has an impact on us. But yeah, I think.
Do you mean to say that there should in the general, in the common mind of all of us,
Yeah.
There should always be a winner and a loser.
No.
Or is that a simplification?
It's very strange when you say there should always be. It's not about that. But I think that we are in that mindset. We are thinking like that. So when there is a conflict, let me take it like this. When there is a conflict...
Why don't you describe, for instance, a conflict in organization, which you work with?
Yeah,
Give us an example.
You want me to take an example from how I do my work?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I have had the opportunity to come into organizations on a quite high level to speak with one manager who has to manage some kind of conflict. It can be on his or her guilt from the beginning that it get into these things, but mostly it's a lot of conflicts in the organization, and this manager is his total position is at stake. I come into many situations when it has been like that. So finally they ask me if we have made contact for some reason. They have got to know me. And then I said, yeah, I can help you. And then they said, this guy or this woman, he or she needs help because it's such a great conflict in the organization. People are complaining about the leadership, complaining about this manager and everything like that. And then I say, yeah, I can do that, but please don't give me any information in advance. I just want to know who is the guy, and I want to meet him or her. And then I go there for the meeting, and we sit down, and I have no other plans for that first meeting than to make a good contact with this person.
Is this a classical problem? There is some kind of manager and people having problem with this specific person?
Yeah, it's very often like that. You cannot say that it's his or her fault, but it's always like specified in that way that there is a lot of people complaining about something. Sometimes it can be complaining about among themselves, but it's a manager who has to be responsible for the situation, and that's why I'm called in to work with him or her. What
kind of consequences does the organization suffer?
They drop a lot of their productivity, or if there is an authority, they're the same thing. You go down in your activities. You cannot produce what you should do. When the conflict takes a lot of energy from everyone like that. And I think it's very common. Everyone knows it in some way. I can meet anyone and I say what I'm working with, and they say, oh yeah, I got this conflict. This manager, he was or she was, so this guy that I'm knowing for private is always doing like this, and what can I do, and so on. So it's very, very common.
And the people who call you in, do they have some kind of thought regarding, for instance, organizational well-being? Or the well-being of the people? As you say, a lot of the times these conflicts also take a toll on people's energy.
Yeah, there is a knowledge about that, of course, that energy goes away. It goes to the drain, like just disappears with that. But my observation over the years is also so that many companies, they can see the conflict going on. They can see a leadership which is not going so well. They can have it for many years. I remember once I sort of inherited, or no, I did not inherit it. It was one manager that I was going to work with. He had 3 persons working before him on this position. And the problem in the organization was inherited up to him. So he had to handle it, to make something with it. And I got to know him, and he was a good guy, very good working, very intelligent, everything was fine, but this was a special problem that it was like in a cocoon or something like that. He inherited it, and he didn't know what to do with it, and everyone knew about it. So we started, that's not the ordinary way, but we started to talk about that and about this person that shouldn't be at that position. So we talked about it for a long time, like 1 or 2 months, and my mission was to help him to clear it out in some way. And what he did was not going into the conflict, not going into the stories that he have heard about it from former leaders for this department, but I helped him to just see at this person at the level where the person was, and look at her or his her, we can say it was a her, it was a she, her abilities and qualities and whatever she could do. And he could see that they were quite good. And I helped him to neutralize all these old sayings about this person. And by that, he could connect to her and talk with her in a very, very plain and good way, so that he can say to her, with all your knowledge, experiences, and abilities that you've got, I think that you've come too far away. We don't need you anymore. That sounds kind of rude to say, but it was not like that. He could talk with her so that she understood in a good way that she could leave this organization, because that was the only way I could see as well, if she shouldn't do totally different things. So you can in one way say that she was not in place, but it wasn't her fault, because no one told her that this was not good. So what I helped him to do was to clear the channel to talk with him, and she left this so-called ship, which was no ship, with a flag in top like that. She could talk to her colleagues, I'm going to leave, I'm going to another job, and she got another job. He made her start up her own capacity to work in a totally better way than she had done for like 4, 5, 6 years. That's not a super conflict, but it's something that I could tell you about, and But does it make sense?
But a lot of the times, the solution is not to have people leave, is it?
No, that's right. So it's good that we took that for the first time. My solution, or my let's say goal, what I'm looking for is, let's say that I got, someone calls me about this manager. We got a manager, he's super good. We want to keep him, but the conflict is so huge. We have, the press they have made articles in the papers in the local area, and the complaining is very, very hard. So, okay, then I said to him, because it was the highest boss in this authority organization, then I said to him, okay, I can talk with this woman. So I met her, and we had a good talk. And the only thing, the first was, I would like to know her and really listen, just make contact, as I said before. So when we had made contact, we can start to talk about what to do. But it took some, like say, 3, 4, 5 meetings, because I got all the story about what has happened and the complaint about others in the organization and everything like that. And when I have listened to that, and sometimes said a little about my own experiences and what I can help with, then I started to ask this woman, do you really want to solve this conflict, resolve it? Do you want it? Do you want that? Yes, she said. Okay, then I have to tell you the whole story about what I'm doing. Then I ask like this, what do you think that people in general want living on Earth? It's a huge question, but still. And then sometimes I help people with the answer. It's good, like sharing some drinks, eating food together, have good relations, making good contact with other persons. Yeah, okay, good. No one that I've met so far has said anything else on that or come into the discussion together with me. Then I can ask, what do you think if people have something to do, like preparing like chairs for a meeting for the family or whatever, or baking a good cake or whatever? Do you think that people in general do that in a good way? And everyone I so far met say, yeah, of course. And then I ask the same question if they have salary for this, if they are like in some position, work life, and having a position and doing things like professionally. Do you think that people in general mostly do it in the best way they can? Yeah. Everyone so far has given me the same answer. Okay. Third question. Do you know any one person that you would like, that you would call all through evil, or all through not willing to do good things, as ill-willing? And no one so far has presented me such a person. I don't know if you can do it, but we can have some examples, Pol Pot, whatever, and Hitler and so on. But on the general level, when you're talking with people, no one has said like that. So when we have gone through this, I can say to them like this. These persons, if they are more, with whom you are in conflict with, I would suggest you to take all of the conflict, all that has happened before. Take it so in a symbolically way in your arms, like you're in palms like this. Look at it. Look at all that has been in conflict, all the bad things, whatever comes in your mind. Take it in your like this so that you have all of it present. And you look at it for so long time that you eventually can come to a state of mind where you are calm. Even if you have said a lot of bad things about them, now you are just looking at them, the history of what has happened, and you just see it. So my recommendation is look at it until you get calm. And when you are calm, go on looking at this whole situation. And when you've done that and really feel that you are in a calm state of mind, then I suggest them to take all of this, like in symbolically again, in your arms like this. Take it very firmly and gentle and put it aside in a gentle way like this in your mind. So it is here. And then you go back and everything with your connection with these people, this organization or this department that has been in conflict before, the way to them is now clear. You have no obstacles that is hindering you for having a good making a good contact with them. Yeah. I will stop there for a while. I've been talking so much now, so long. But I will go on when you want.
Of course, thank you.
Too long, yeah.
No, but it's quite interesting because I get reference points to other sciences.
Yeah.
Because you said in the beginning that you need to open up channels, and you had this person speak with you a lot about the old stuff.
Yeah.
To get it out. In a way, to get it out of the system.
Yeah, it's because it's important, because if I start to say something, like many consultants do, show something, we are going to do this schedule, you come from this level to this level, or whatever. Or I say, I present myself like first time. I just jumped into your speak now, but I wouldn't like to do that. But if I do like that, then I cannot have any good contact with this person, because then they cut off like that. It's very common that it is like that.
I perceive it that you're giving the person two things in that part of the process. First of all, you establish a genuine connection by listening.
Yeah.
And then you let the person have the opportunity to say all these things which are bottled up. Just let them out in a way, right?
Yeah.
Just let them out in the room freely, and there's no judgment about it, and there's no solution orientation about it. Oh, maybe that thing we should do this about that, or that other thing we should do. Just let it out, and just in a way, just visualize it because it's out.
Yeah. Exactly like that. And the important thing is that I get it from her or him, not from anyone else. Because then we can go further on and work together, or I can help him or her to work with this thing. I'm not visible in the organization. I never go out and speak with others. I would like to say that as well. Many organizations do like that they make interviews, they go along, interview people, what has happened, how do you feel, and a lot of things like that. And then they put that together like an investigation or whatever, and then they have that to like the base for decisions, how to go on.
Wrapping things up, a little bit mechanistic and just delivering it.
Yeah. And that makes it like, what is the word? It freezes the situation. Yeah. It stays for long. It stays for decades or for more than that. So you can have no resolution for that. So it's not good to do that. It's openly listening, see what can happen then.
But I heard two more steps in your story there.
Yeah.
And the other one where you said, let's take it all, let's take it in, and let's look at it. And in a way, feel good about it. You didn't say that.
No.
But in a way, feel better about it by, looking at it. And,
no, I didn't say that.
And keeping the vision on it. No, you didn't. I said that.
Yeah, good.
But in a way, what you're doing within psychology, I guess that would be called exposure. You take it all in and you keep it in front of you and you don't run away.
Yeah, that's the main thing. Don't run away. But I'm not saying, what do you say, that you like it or that you feel comfortable with it, or comfortable is a better word.
And by not running away, whatever, if it's stress, if it's anxiety, if it's anger, whatever levels of those go down after a while, don't they?
Yeah.
Because you keep
That's
your
the
eye
purpose.
on it. And that's what I meant. You get more comfortable with it.
You're comfortable. Yeah, that's right.
And in a way, that's sort of being present, being in the moment. Well, many people say it's sort of mindfulness, but I think in the lingo of the professionals, they call it, mindfulness in English. In Swedish, it would be something like medveten närvaro or something. Just be aware of the things. Don't run away. Don't do anything about it. Just stay there. And don't try to interact or anything. Just, accept it. Put it away and accept it. And by this, kind of both getting free from the old and opening up for something new. Maybe a new sort of interaction, maybe a new chapter. But isn't this kind of process also important to do with everybody involved in the conflict?
The thing is, going back to my own experiences, I have had the opportunity to help managers, and I have. And they, by their changed mindset, they change perspective. So that's a lot of the work we do together. We change perspective, looking at these guys who he or she look upon like ill-willing or bad-doing things and whatever. So we change perspectives, and we, by this, going to this, which I would like to call human carrier, the thing that the undertone, the bottom tone that is between every human being living on the earth, that we have some connection on a basic level. So it's about connect to that one.
Finding the commonalities?
Pardon, one more.
Finding the commonalities?
Yes, some connection, because we are all in that. And I'm not going to do any more doing it like some special thing. It's just like that. When you ask people about it, everyone recognizes it. Yeah, it's good to be on good, like I said before, good relations and everything like that. It's a basic need. When you read papers, when you listen to news and things like that, and everything that is happening in the world today, you think that it's conflict that is the main thing, but it's not. People want to have good relations, and that is some kind of, as I have found, some kind of undertone which connects every human being living. And then I would like to go into another part of this subject, that even when you have like people who have done so really bad things, I will not mention anything like that. But
crimes against humanity.
Pardon?
Do you mean crimes against humanity?
Yeah, whatever bad things they've done, if I am going to meet a person like that and have connection with him or her, I do the same thing. If there, for some reason, it's good to have connection with this person. Now you took me out on a wing like that. I did. Yeah, I don't want to go
quite
there.
extreme.
But yeah. For me, it's like that every person I meet, I neutralize myself before it. And I go to this meeting with the only purpose, we shall make contact, make connection in some way. And then I'm very like, listening in the situation, feeling it, doing nothing that can take it away, doing nothing, no proposal like that, just being there and be present. You took up the word present. I don't think I mentioned it before you, but it's so important. If you really can stay present, and I don't want to say anything more about it because there are so much about psychology and things, and people think, oh, that's not so good. Presence is a very good word, because if you are present in everything where you are, then you can listen, then you can hear. Reception, perception, ability of analysis is good, everything is good then. And you can talk freely like you said before. You feel no suppression or whatever, you can just go on.
This is in a way, what you're talking about, I perceive is in a way a matter of skills training, isn't it? Actually, quite a lot on a personal level. To be able to go through these processes yourself, to be able to master these processes, micro-processes, with individual relationships, with your group relationships, teams, both private and professional.
Now, the good thing...
Is that something that you see in the culture? Because actually, I think my question is it culture-based? We started talking about the winner and the loser mentality that is so common in our society. And I think when we say society, I think we mean professional society on a professional capacity, maybe not the private part. We don't see our relatives, hopefully, as competitors and winners and losers. But so are there differences in cultures around the world when it comes to these things, where you have more or less skills trainings and ability to manage this on a personal level, do you think? Or is it just the same everywhere?
I don't think it's the same everywhere, but in some way it is, I think. No, I dropped this question. The first question was something else.
Let me be very simplistic in my question then. Let's go back to the initial conversation where we started at. Winners and losers. For instance, in the United States, it's a very clear business mindset. Winners and losers. There has to be a winner, thus there has to be a loser. I'm thinking, this sort of skills training that you're bringing up here, maybe doesn't fit that culture very well at the moment. Is there a difference between that culture, our culture, and maybe some other cultures? Because what we're talking about is a little bit mindfulness, is a little bit Zen. Is it different, for instance, in Asian business culture?
If we stay in America, which I just visited once for 4 days, so I'm not so much experienced in that. But anyway, I think that there is a huge, super huge potential in American big companies to hire the production so much that you could never, ever think of it before. Going in another way of trust and giving the opportunity for co-workers to take their own responsibility and do things and creating things. Because creativity and communication is many times, as I have heard, it's only that I've heard, and by speaking with people and reading things, is so much suppressed. You don't do, but I'm not, I don't want to speak bad about America, it's not about that, but I think there is a huge potential there. As it is also in many Swedish companies, of course, and as well as in authorities, if you put more trust in your staff. There is a lot of work going on now by putting it more trust into your staff and telling more about values and things like that. But it is, if I shall make a, what do you say, like...
generalization?
Yeah. Today it's like 10% of it genuinely, and the other rest is just like words. So, and that made me stay in this thing. When I speak with managers about trust, in Swedish, the självförtroende, which is a important word, confidence and trust. Then they think that they can say, they go on the stage, they are very like harnessed, very good expressing things, good language, intelligence, everything like that, and then they say it to people. But they don't really, it's not like grounded. They don't think it really. They think that they have to say it. And when you do it like that, it doesn't go into people's totally personality.
Why is that?
You know, it's because all of us have an ability to see or feel what others are saying to us. Not the words, but the meaning of what they are saying. So I say to a manager, if you really want confidence out in the organization, then the first thing is, do you feel confident in your role, in your person? Do you think that your skills, that your experiences is worth anything? And I can ask him or her this, and the discussion can go on in different ways, but the most important thing is to feel, am I confident with myself for the manager? Because when she or he is that really, then she can say things out in the organization, which has a great meaning, that people can feel trust and they can work on, they can feel that they are trusted, and they can feel that their creativity is taken away, they take care of it, and everything like that. And that has more to do with how the manager feels in himself or herself than what they are saying.
Are you talking about the BS radar, the bullshit radar? You can see through people when they actually mean it
Yes.
and are being genuine or not.
Yeah, that's the more flagrant thing of it. But let's say you have an audience of 100 people, say that, and the manager speaks, and 10% maybe or 7 understands that this is what you said, not bullshit, but it's not really äkta. It's not genuine. And then you can have maybe, now I'm just estimating, 30% that, that doesn't sound good. I wonder what it is. And then the rest, pain in stomach or like headache or whatever, and not feeling good. What the phone is it going on? Like that. But everyone has the ability to feel when it's not resonant in a good way.
Right.
The message that comes from the manager. And it's very good to tell people this because everyone knows it. So everything that I'm working with, I would like to say that, always finds like resonance in the person or in the audience that I'm talking to. So it's very basic. I'm not going into like high up or down theories.
Right.
I'm keeping myself on the ground as much as possible.
So another thought of on this conflict resolution thing. Now we've been talking about creating some kind of acceptance, seeing the one on the other side, your so-called advisory, maybe as not as much as an advisory, once you're have the ability to clear your mind and your soul. We see trends. I don't know if you see it, but I see in the younger business professionals, I see trends of a movement called mind shift, of more acceptance, of more slow living even, and evaluating what actual human value is and well-being actually is. Mm-hmm. You keep coming back to productivity, but I think a lot of it is also, especially now after Corona, where people have been able to feel how it is to sit at home and actually get a bit more quality time in between of meetings and everything. There is a shift there. I would like to pick that up a little bit later. I had another question though, and it is, we are in times of transformation. We hear it, luckily in Sweden, in the news more and more often, which is a great improvement. It's about life, our lives as civilization, because they rest upon the basics of life, food, which is nutrition, water, air, space, shelter, basic Maslowian needs, which we are jeopardizing right now because of economy and production. So we are in times of transformation where different opinions of what needs to be done and how it needs to be done are flourishing out there in society. And that combined, for instance, actually right now, there is a huge gathering going on outside, not far away from here. It's the Fridays for Future movement, which started with one person and with the help of social media grew into a massive youth movement. They're gathering as we speak for one of the mass demonstrations to take part in Stockholm. And they're going to have an event in an hour's time or so. That's an example of the power of social media. But we've also seen in the wake of these movements, also the counter movement. In times of transformation, how do we leverage or how do we scale what you just mentioned about being present, being accepting of other views, ventilating everything so it all comes out in order to make that connection that you were speaking about, see the other person genuinely for who they are, their fears, their beliefs, their hopes. How do we do that in this modern world?
Great question. Let me just, before that, go back to this question about, or you talked about, I said that the potential of productivity was huge. And then you took up the word productivity again, like it's that but I'm not talking about productivity like that. I was talking about the range within the company would like to be, or the authority, giving answers to people or whatever it is. I'm not asking for raising productivity like that. It's not that. I just wanted to clear that out. It's more about what can they do, what shall they do, and so on. The other question, there is only one way, I think. And that is by really giving support to and understand that this, what you and I are having now, discussion between two persons, it is an important thing. And that listening is also is important. And by far the most important thing is to be present. And you cannot just say like, be present, everyone. And then we come back to this thing. You can never but you can do that in some, you think you can do that in some countries. Okay, we found out that this is better for people, and then you got loudspeakers and things like that and tell the population do like this. It is not like that. This new thing of looking, if there is a new thing going on in the world, looking at us and our conversation and our civilization and everything like that, it can just go on from person to person. And at some extent, somewhere, sometimes, different levels, it reaches a level when it spreads like very hastily, like that, choop, without any. I don't know how you can explain that, but the genuine conversation between people is the most important thing. And then, when that raises up to a great amount, then it spreads more. Of course, I cannot say it in any better way than that, I think.
In today's society, I mean, in today's media society, it's an information war in a way in many different areas. A lot of us go to social media to hear and to see other people's opinions, reactions. If we remove the fact of the filter bubble and take it away as a factor for a moment. But social media is run by algorithms today, isn't it?
Yeah, I've heard so.
Just a few weeks ago, we had reports about Instagram being a big platform for mental illness in young women.
Yeah.
Just a week ago, we had Google being represented at the Stockholm conference to honor the survivors of Jewish heritage during the Second World War, and they were there to explain themselves how they should in the future work with their algorithms in order not to polarize and dichotomize the conversation.
Every restriction.
Do you think it's possible to stay on these platforms in order to nuance the conversation, or do we need to create new forums, new fora for that? Because you said it's important to meet. It's important to be genuine. Are we going somehow in some kind of re-democratization era where we gather on the streets and we meet face to face and we actually don't hide behind the screens because it's difficult to say hard stuff to each other when you have each other in front of each other?
So maybe the best thing now, I'm just trying to say something. The best thing with social media is, okay, it's good to make people gather like they did many years ago in Egypt as well, but then it failed down. It didn't work there. I think that is the best way. It can be of great help when it comes to that. But otherwise, it's more like we have to meet. We have to understand that human meeting is important for going on further on. Otherwise, we cannot do it. We have to meet. And what I can do by speaking with managers in companies and maybe sometimes in authorities is to free this knowledge about how you can neutralize conflicts, because I think it has a great impact on our how we communicate in the future if we really understand this. Is more and more people understand it, that you can do this not only in the company with a big conflict with millions of dollars or kron or whatever, but you can also do it in your neighborhood, in your family. It happens to me many times when I'm working with managers that they say, okay, these things that we were talking about, it helped me to in the connection with one of my relatives. We had a very bad connection since 10 years, and now by thinking, like we have been discussing in our meetings, it could go for like 1 or 2 months. Then they say, this connection with this guy in my family is totally good again, or maybe for the first time. by helping from our discussion about how you can meet people in a different way.
And also what comes out of that sort of discussion, that if you are able to adopt and act under the assumption that people are trying their best, people are not evil, you open up new channels from within you.
Yeah, that's right. That's really right, because you get more like present in listening. Your reception gets more wide open, because preconceptions about others' behavior tend to shrink our looking area. It shrinks also our ability to be to the reception and also perception at all, and also the analytical ability that we've got. So it's very important to do like that. People really experiences it.
I feel you're getting a bit fired up on this last one. It feels like we're about to start a new conversation, but we only have a few minutes left to go.
How?
And if you have any questions, any comments, just put them please down below here to Kjell. We will forward them to him. And we have a few minutes for our live audience to come in with some questions, if you have any. Yes, please.
Yes. I'm Lars. What do you think about, this distributed way of working that has accelerated through Corona? Me myself, I'm being a freelancer. I have customers around the world. I'm part of teams in UK, in US, and people that I don't even know the surname of. But we have a lot of communication. Yeah. So I'm part of different organizations. But so what do you think about conflicts there? Does people even say the word conflict? Because since we never talk to each other privately, we only have the job roles, and normally I at least don't get into conflict because people deliver and stuff. But what's your philosophy about not meeting each other anymore?
So the question was, when it comes to job relationships on a distance, we actually didn't have the ability to establish this maybe personal connection at first, or even for a long time. Is it called conflict? Do they exist? How are they perceived? Are they managed?
Sometimes maybe they come to the surface and you lock down the communication, but I think that they are existing on a lower base, lower level, and not so much. You cannot notice them, but they are hindering your work until you think, okay, let's quit this work. It doesn't work anymore. So I think they are there. And one thing, if we want to have some really development from some company or some new technical thing or something that helps us humanity for some reason, then it's important to meet. We cannot do it just by technical skills and have long. It doesn't work like that. And
but here we have actual situations where you can't meet because you're continents apart. Let's say.
Yeah. So we have suffered a lot from that. I'm quite sure. So it's about to get people in average like more energy to start work in an ordinary way again. By a complement like having contact in these technical things as well. But I really think that we all need to be boosted now, make contact, talk about things, because it's totally different to meet with a person and have a discussion. And I've always noticed that also in my ordinary life, when I sit on the train, talk to someone else, or here by chance speak with someone over the cup of coffee or whatever, suddenly I can hear myself say things that I didn't say before, but it sounds quite good. It resonates with me, or it goes a little bit further. So having a conversation also always get you to a not higher level, but you come further on with your. It could be teachings or problems or whatever. So discussions, when you meet, it's totally different from phone call or calls by Teams or Zoom or whatever, even if they are good. I've had many, I've also been consulting people down in Spain by this Zoom, and it was quite good as well, but not as good as if we had met in the room. I'm quite sure.
Thank you. And on that note, we will say goodbye for now. Remember to stay open, stay genuine, and create good relationships, whether they're in person or at a distance. Create great onboardings and be very open, whatever you do when you're talking about relationships and conflict resolution. with that, we will say thank you to all of you out there. Thank you for you people in the room. And thank you, Kjell Jacobsson, for being with us at this first Impact Talk. Thank you.
Thank you so much.